President al-Sisi affirms Egypt's full support for Iraq's leadership of the upcoming Arab Summit and confirms attendance at the Baghdad meetings in May 2025. President al-Sisi reaffirms Egypt's support for Comoros' 2030 development plan during high-level talks focused on security, Gaza, and the African unity. Prime Minister Madbouli witnesses landmark agreement between the Suez Canal Economic Zone and Abu Dhabi ports to establish a major industrial hub. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi reaffirmed Egypt's commitment to ensuring the success of the upcoming Arab Summit in Baghdad and expressed Egypt's full support for Iraq's upcoming presidency of the Arab League Summit. During his meeting with Iraq's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Fuad Hussein, President al-Sisi received an official invitation to attend the 34th regular session of the Arab Summit and the 5th Arab Economic and Social Development Summit, both scheduled to be held in Baghdad on May the 17th, 2025. The official spokesperson stated that the meeting included an exchange of views on the situations in Palestine and Syria, with both sides firmly rejecting the displacement of Palestinians from their land. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and President of the Comoros, President Azali Assoumani, have discussed regional and global developments, including the situation in the Horn of Africa and the Red Sea security. Egypt and Comoros signed several agreements between President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and President Azali Assoumani, focusing on boosting bilateral cooperation, development and investment. The leaders discussed Gaza, Sudan, counter-terrorism and African Union priorities, agreeing on unified African positions and fair global representation. President al-Sisi reaffirmed Egypt's support for Comoros' development plans, particularly the 2030 Emerging Comoros Plan, and expressed readiness to cooperate in sectors such as health, education, energy, and infrastructure. Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati discussed with his Iraqi counterpart Fuad Hussein the latest developments regarding the ongoing arrangements for the upcoming Arab Summit to be hosted in Baghdad on May the 17th. The two ministers reviewed the latest developments concerning regional issues, particularly the situation in Gaza. They discussed efforts to resume the ceasefire agreement and garner support for the Arab plan for reconstruction in Gaza. The meeting also saw an exchange of views on developments in Syria and Lebanon, as well as the broader Arab regional situation. Both sides agreed on a shared vision regarding these issues and emphasized their joint efforts to achieve security and stability in the region. And Egypt's Health Minister, Dr. Khalid Abdel Ghaffar, has met with his Saudi counterpart, Fahad El-Jalajil, to enhance bilateral cooperation in healthcare, digital transformation, and patient safety. The talks also addressed Egypt's medical mission for the 2025 Hajj, boosting pharmaceutical industry ties, and increasing Saudi investment in Egypt's healthcare sector. Both ministers emphasized the urgency of delivering humanitarian aid to Palestinians. And Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli presided over a meeting of the Council of Governors and Security Directors in the Governorates. During the meeting, the Prime Minister stressed the importance of confronting building violations and encroachments on farmlands, pointing out to the progress achieved in that domain. The Prime Minister said that Egypt is on the threshold of parliamentary elections, underlining the need for vigilance in this crucial stage. And Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, along with a number of ministers and officials, discussed proposals to increase the number of kindergarten classes and nursery schools. During the meeting, the Prime Minister stated that efforts would be made to increase the number of kindergarten or nursery school classes by utilizing any government-owned facilities. The meeting pointed out that there were currently 30,000 kindergarten classes and 100,000 classes are needed to accommodate all students. Therefore, there's the need for an additional 70,000 classes. And the Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation, Hani Soueilam, called for urgent regional cooperation to address intensifying water challenges across the Arab world. During the opening session of the 7th Arab Water Week in Jordan, the Egyptian minister underscored the growing strain on shared water resources in the region, where 21 countries rely on transboundary service or groundwater. And the Minister of Environment, Yasmin Fouad, has directed urgent measures to control oil pollution detected in the Red Sea in South Sinai Governorate, around 40 kilometers from Abu Dis city in the direction of Sharm el-Sheikh. An environmental committee was formed to take immediate measures alongside the El Salam Center for Combating Marine Pollution in Sharm el-Sheikh to contain the pollution and begin cleaning the beach. The committee also took 2 samples of the pollution and sent them to the branch's laboratory to examine and determine the source and type of pollution in preparation for taking the necessary legal measures against the polluter. The measures came after the ministry's Central Operations Room received a report of oil slicks appearing on the surface of the seawater with an unknown source. And to mark International Workers' Day, museums across Egypt have selected artifacts highlighting the role of workers in ancient Egyptian society. As part of a monthly tradition organized by the Supreme Council of Antiquities, the pieces were chosen via public voting on museum social media pages. This month's featured items including a Mamluk-era ceramic tile bearing the artisan's name, a frieze of grape harvesters and a model of a fishing boat, and statues of craftsmen, all showcasing the significance of labor throughout history. The initiative aims to raise public awareness of Egypt's heritage and honor the contributions of workers in building civilization. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli witnessed the signing of an agreement between the General Authority for the Suez Canal Economic Zone and Abu Dhabi Ports Group to establish an industrial and logistics zone. Walid Gamaluddin, chairman of the Suez Canal Economic Zone Authority, stated that today marks the launch of a strategic project within the Suez Canal Economic Zone through the signing of an agreement with the Abu Dhabi Ports Group to develop the economic zone over an area of 20 million square meters. He added that this milestone represents a genuine embodiment of the fraternal relations between Egypt and the United Arab Emirates. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli also met with the Minister of Housing, Sharif Sherbini, to review the latest developments in the Decent Life initiative aimed at developing rural Egypt. And on another front, the Minister of Housing stated that 35,000 housing units have been offered so far out of a total exceeding 261,000 units under the housing initiative for middle income, upper middle and luxury segments. The 5 phases of the offerings will continue through mid-2026. He added that in the coming period, 115,000 housing units will be offered under the presidential initiative Housing for All Egyptians, targeting low and middle income citizens in several new cities across the country. Investment Minister Hassan El Khatib inaugurated the Egyptian-Morrocan Investment and Trade Forum held in Cairo under the slogan Promising Economic Partnership. El-Khatib added that the forum aims to create channels for continuous and constructive communication between the two brotherly countries. He emphasized the great importance of such meetings as a key mechanism for evaluating and developing trade exchanges, particularly Moroccan exports to Egypt. And the Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, Karim Badawi, inaugurated the Integrated Development Project for Tunab village in the Edfu district of Aswan Governorate. The project was implemented by the New Valley Company for Mineral Resources and Oil Shale. The project aims to transform Tunab village into a model of self-sufficient villages for the first time by constructing 30 fully furnished new homes equipped with units for generating biogas from animal waste and solar energy systems, serving as a model for sustainability and clean energy. Fitch Solutions has forecast a gradual improvement in Egypt's economic indicators from the current fiscal year through 2027-2028, driven by the government's ongoing fiscal reforms and economic policies. The agency expects Egypt's public debt to decline to 50.2% of the GDP by fiscal year 2033-2034, down by a 12.5 percentage points from current levels, signaling improved fiscal sustainability and the effectiveness of ongoing reforms. Fitch also anticipates public revenues to grow by a 38.5% compared to a 30.6% increase in expenditures during the same period. Fitch has also affirmed Egypt's long-term credit rating at B, with a stable outlook and projects the public debt to GDP ratio to drop to a 78.9% by fiscal year 2025-2026. Egyptian Stock Exchange ended today's trading sessions with collective gains across all indices, driven by buying activity from Egyptian investors, while Arab and foreign investors tended towards selling. The total trading value reached a 4.1 billion Egyptian pounds, and the market capitalization gained a 17 billion Egyptian pounds, closing at a 2.281 trillion EGP. EGX 30 index rose by an 0.7%. The EGX 30 capped index increased by an 0.86%, and the EGX 30 total return index climbed by an 0.63%. Additionally, the EGX 70 equally weighted index for small and medium-sized enterprises jumped by 0.47%, and the EGX 100 equally weighted index rose by 1.32%, and the Islamic index surged by 1.04%. And the Egyptian Football Association has set 5th of June as the new date for the Egypt Cup final between Zamalek and Pyramids FC. Originally planned for 20th of May, with talks of hosting it in the UAE, the match will now take place at the Cairo International Stadium. Pyramids booked their final spot after beating NBE Club, while Zamalek overcame Ceramica Cleopatra. And the two teams will also meet in the league on the 13th of May. And Egypt is expected to see mild to moderately hot weather across Greater Cairo and Lower Egypt and the northern Upper Egypt. And according to the Egyptian Meteorological Authority, hot conditions will prevail in South Sinai and southern Upper Egypt, while nights will remain generally mild with a slight chill during early morning hours. And the forecast temperatures include a 26 in Cairo, 23 in Alexandria, 22 Marsa Matouh, 30 Sharm el-Sheikh, and 31 in both Luxor and Aswan. And that brings us to the end of our news bulletin, and here's what we've been covering. President Sisi affirms Egypt's full support for Iraq's leadership of the upcoming Arab Summit and confirms attendance at the Baghdad meetings in May 2025. President Sisi reaffirms Egypt's support for Comoros' 2030 development plan during high-level talks focused on security, Gaza, and the African unity. Prime Minister Madbouli witnesses the landmark agreement between the Suez Canal Economic Zone and Abu Dhabi ports to establish a major industrial hub. And that was all for now, and remember to stay updated by following Qnews for the latest developments.